All right, good morning, agents. This is Kevin Lauren. I'm Director of Training and Marketing here at Alta Realty Group. And today is our 2026 kickoff. Excited to have everybody here. We're going to go over a business plan and a strategy for 2026 to kick things off, make sure everybody's organized and ready to rock and roll. So, before we get into today's training, I'm going to bring Bill Seitz, corporate broker of Alta Realty Group, on the line. Good morning, Bill. How are you doing today? Bill, can you hear us? Oh, you're muted. All right, Bill, unmute your phone. Please unmute. All right, so Bill is probably having a little technical difficulty. So we are going to just cruise right into today's uh, topic. But before we get into today's topic, we have a kind of a fun little anecdote that I'm going to share with you guys. Let me just pull up our Instagram account. So, one thing that we're going to kind of start to do is we're going to share something kind of funny yeah, every week. So, this is something that Bill pulled up for us. So, let's see if we can take a look.
It's very exciting because I grew up on a straight street and I always dreamed of living in a cul-de-sac. You see them and you're like, can you imagine being up in one of those? We do all the cul-de-sac stuff, like if anybody comes down there, we're like, what are you doing down? Just any car, like, you better get out of our cul-de-sac. We take our trash out one of the days. I don't know the day, but it's a day. We do it. There is one day. I know we forgot to take it out a couple weeks ago. That stress could break up a family. All week was like, everybody eat out of your hands. We had friends over, like, put your trash in your pockets, take it to your homes.
So anyway, Bill thought that it would be fun for us to to share a real estate related, kind of a fun thing every Wednesday. So that is the synopsis of living in a cul-de-sac. So kind of fun there. So also wanted to let me just share also, we had a great holiday party. A lot of you guys were able to make it. For those of you that did not, we missed you. But really a fun time. Here's a few pictures of the party. So the party was on my dad's boat, the Mai Tai. And so we probably had, my dad said he's never had so many people on his boat at one time. So it was a great turnout. We had a lot of fun. We watched the Newport Beach boat parade. So it was a really, really great time. It was really good to connect with, a lot of the agents and, spend some time, not working and just enjoying. So I think we had about 60 people on the boat. Here's a great shot of almost everybody. But just a really good time. Really glad everybody was able to make it. Um, and for those of you that didn't, next year we'll do the same thing and we'll have a great time as well. So, and I'm not sure if Bill still cannot is not joined us yet, but we'll have to catch up with him next week. So the topic of today is planning. So when we, start the year, it's really an important exercise to just make sure that we're organized for the year. So I'm going to share my screen, and this is, let's see, Bill wants me to try to unmute him again. Hold on. There we go. All right, Bill, can you hear or can you speak?
Am I here? Am I here?
All right, you're here, buddy.
My gosh, what a meltdown. I was like super prepared this morning too. Like I was up, I made my list, I had my whole setup. And I updated Zoom on the just the app because I had previous problems with the video. And
Yeah.
right now the video is not running, so we'll have to figure that out. So I was planning on being live in person because we always have, if you've been with this company for any amount of time, we have the running joke that it's like Charlie's Angels, and I'm like the guy that's on the speaker, but he's never live. So, anyways, I apologize for that. That was really frustrating. I was all dialed in. I was like, I was unmute, but sorry about that, everybody. Kev, thanks for sharing that little reel. I thought that guy's super funny. That guy is uh,
Yeah.
a classic guy, and talking about cul I didn't grow up on a cul-de-sac, but I know the feeling, you know. Um, but we wanted to share something funny, something humorous as we get started in the mornings and kind of change it up a bit this year. Yeah, so good morning, happy new year to everybody. We had a great turnout, as you said, Kevin, for the party. That was super fun, and the parade, the boat parade was awesome. There were some next level presentations on some of those boats.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, huh?
Absolutely. Um, so real quick, Kev, let me run through my little list here.
Sure.
A couple weeks ago, I think it was right around the last time we met, I did send out the Broker Tuesday tip was about the Altos um, market forecast, which is today. If you signed up for it, I am signed up for it myself. It starts at 1 o'clock Central Time. So Altos is a market, you know, basically, data collection, survey, forecaster, all things real estate. And some of you may be even using their Altos reports that are actually pretty cool. They'll be they design them for your specific zip code or geographic area. So they're doing their macro real estate forecast today at 11 a.m. Pacific time. We did send out the link 3 weeks ago. If you guys saw it or signed up, that's great. If you didn't, I'll do the homework for you because I am signed up and I'm going to be on it at 11 o'clock, like I said. I did see a reminder. If you're still interested, maybe go back to your Broker Tuesday tips from about 3 weeks ago. I think it was around the 18th or so as I sent that out. And then let's move into the next the broker tip from yesterday, which is about the changes to the digital picture requirement. And Kevin, I know as a marketing person, something that you'll be on top of as well. This kind of crept up, I think, on a lot of us. And I'm just going to read a couple little things, and then we'll kind of keep an eye on it. So it says the California legislature recently passed a number of new laws, many of which affect realtors. No surprise. One of these new laws, AB Assembly Bill 723, codified as Business and Professional Code, goes into effect January 1, so we're already in effect, and it imposes new obligations in real estate licensees with respect to the use of digitally altered images in advertising and promotional materials for the sale of real property. Okay, so then they go, what's the definition of a digitally altered image? It's an image created by or at the direction of the real estate broker or salesperson or person acting on their behalf that has been a photo that has been altered through the use of photo editing software or AI, artificial intelligence, to add, remove, or change elements in the image, including but not limited to fixtures, furniture, appliances, flooring, walls, paint, color, hardscape, blah blah blah. As you can imagine, goes on forever. Um, Basically, they're saying you can't not have the original picture with that new altered picture. And if you read further, everyone was sent this yesterday. If you read down further, it talks about, like, if you're using just your regular photographer to take pictures of your the property, and they're just basically doing touch up work or a little bit lighting, stuff, just little tiny little cosmetics things, that doesn't apply. But if you're adding in things, you're changing the way the actual image looks like, at some considerable length, that you actually have to put in the original image along with the changed image. Um, at this point, there is no, I read yesterday, there is no violation or fine yet through CRMLS or any of these MLSs, but it does say that the MLSs will likely adopt rules to address these digitally altered images. So read between the lines. Definitely, they're going to be coming up with some sort of fine, and they're definitely going to be. I This is a whole nother topic of a pet peeve of mine of the whole fine system, but they are going to definitely find a punitive measure soon. I can imagine.
Yeah, so Bill, we're talking about virtual staging basically, right?
Yeah, and whatever else people do. I mean, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Um, you know, it's as we move into this more of this AI world that we live in, people have the ability to literally create images and change things almost instantly. I think they're trying to stay ahead of it, which in and of itself on that end is probably not a bad thing because you don't want to be misleading, right?
Yeah.
Next thing, Kevin. There we have a co-list opportunity with Daniel Moray. He's a probate specialist in our brokerage. He does a fair bit of business in the probate world. He's very knowledgeable. He hit me up this morning, said, "Hey, do we have anybody in the Bakersfield area? If you are working Bakersfield or the surrounding area and would like to be part of a co-list with Daniel Moray, please just you can call me, text me after the meeting or sometime today, and I will plug you in with Daniel, and that'll be good. Nice opportunity there. And Kevin, we can run into the market real quick. I've already looked at it myself, but let's just do a quick little peekaboo. As always, we look at the interest rates and the 10-year treasury. And since our last meeting, there's been very, very minor little, very small changes. You can see there, as Kevin has the red line there, it's just a kind of plateaued with little tiny peaks and valleys. Hopefully, we will see some, see that kind of dip as it did in about three months ago. You can see where it got down below 4% on the 10-year. So hopefully we'll get into that range. But all in all, rates aren't too bad. I just priced one yesterday, 90% LTV, pretty strong credit. First time home buyer for 6 3/8 and an $800 credit back to the buyer. So not bad. If we can get under 6%, I think this thing starts to crank, and I think we all need to be ready for that.
Absolutely. I think that this year we're going to see that, so it's just a matter of when, right?
You know what I did? I did listen to this. This is a fun little tidbit for all of us that are still in this business. They said last couple of years have been some of the hardest years in real estate in recent memory. And with the forecast of I think it was over 500 more sales are supposed to occur this year. The people who, like anything, didn't grind it out, didn't stay with it, and have kind of removed themselves from the industry. There's a huge reduction in salespeople out there, and there's going to be a huge increase in sales volume. So if you're prepared, you're ready, you're doing the things that we're talking about, this could be a big year for all of us.
Absolutely. I'm glad everybody that's on the line here stayed with it and is planning on a big year this year. So good point, Bill.
Yeah, so I think I got through my list. Other than that, I think the rain's finally done, and hopefully we get some sunshine, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's bright and sunny today, so beautiful day for a webinar. Yeah, so let's shift gears and let's talk about a little bit of real estate planning. So, I've got a little graphic whoops, that's not the right one. I've got a little graphic that I want to share with you guys. So, beginning of the year, really important to get organized and to make sure that we are, on track with, um, oh, that's interesting. just on track with having a plan for the year. So in January, great idea to just, get a checklist of activities, make sure that we know exactly what we're doing. So this is a business plan workshop, and this is not 2025, this is 2026. So first thing that everybody should do, and this is just, I know we've gone over a few of these things before, but this is just a really important thing to make sure that you're doing to further your business and to make sure that you are putting your best foot forward for 2026. So very first thing is to create a vision statement. And the reason that I think it's important to create a vision statement is because it's something that makes you focus on what you want to accomplish in the short and long term, right? So you want to identify the goals you want to reach. And so boiling that down to a statement is a very, very important step because it makes you go, oh, okay, this is what I'm actually going to focus on this year. And then also having a mission statement is something that defines the company's business, its objectives, and its approach to reach those objectives. So a vision statement describes the kind of the future position of the company. So elements of mission and vision statements are often combined to provide a statement for the company's purpose or your, purpose for what you're doing in your real estate business. So and a lot of times the two are interchangeable, but I think that the mission statement is more of the objectives. The vision statement is more of like the goals and your actual vision for what you want to do. So really a good uh, exercise to do that and make sure that you are, focusing on this stuff. So another important step is to identify your target customer. I mean, when you're starting out, you're gonna basically, you're gonna do deals with anybody that you can, right? But as you become more seasoned, it's important to understand who you identify with and the people that you are more in tuned with and more likely to have really good outcomes with, right? So identifying, the personas you're selling to paints a clear picture of who to target. So that's where we get into, targeting specific people. And it's really great to see a lot of our agents identify their niches and identify, their marketing that works for them. And, so identify the target market helps you identify how you're going to market to those people. So it's a really, really important step. And so I don't want you guys to overlook that. So the third thing, of course, is to develop your goals. So you have to set your goals for your marketing initiatives. You have to set your budgets, and you have to summarize the strategies that you're going to use to accomplish those goals. So what are the goals that you want to reach this year? What is the amount of money you want to make? And then work it backwards to, okay, if I want to make $100,000 this year, $200,000 this year, how many deals does that take to get there with the average compensation? So, and this is, I mean, you would think that this is, really, really simple stuff, but too many agents just don't go through this process. And so I want everybody in our brokerage to make sure that you do go through this process and you do identify exactly how you're going to get to that goal. So the fourth step is to determine your unique selling proposition. So this is another really important thing because this sets you apart from other realtors, right? Think about what differentiates you from your competition. So here's a few questions that you want to ask yourself. What can you offer that others can't? How does your unique approach or personality create value for prospects? What are the latest pricing, selling, buying trends in your market? How can you discuss these trends, including the numbers, with prospects? So that is the thing that sets the stage for also how you're going to market, right? So when you know your individual value proposition, that also helps you with how you're going to market that to your target market. So all these things are really, really related, and they're really important for you to just go through this exercise. Number five, determine tools and budget for each strategy. So if your strategy is to say, I'm going to do social media marketing, I'm going to do, open houses, I'm going to do client appreciation parties, and I'm going to do some mailers. Well, you want to set up a budget for each of those strategies, right? And like we say all the time, you don't have to do everything, but you do have to identify which things you're going to do and set the budget for the year. Don't say, all right, I'm just going to send out a mailer and just, hope something happens. You have to set a budget for a monthly mailer or a every 2 week mailer, or I'm going to set up my social media budget for the entire year. And I mean, at least 6 months. And then you can determine if you want to shift or if you want to change or pivot. But you cannot just, throw something, up once and expect for any kind of results. That's not the way that marketing in general works. So super important. Determine the tools and the budget for each strategy. So the second thing is you want to measure the performance. Once you've identified these tools that you're going to use to market, you want to write down the key metrics, right? How many, leads come in? How many, phone calls did you make? Every single thing is a metric. And once if you're keeping track of all your metrics, then you're able to see how many things it took to get to those goals that you set. So all of these things again, super, super related. They're all, mixed together and they all have to do with one another. So and some of the examples here is, if your campaign is an Instagram post promotion, what's the length of the promotion? What's the goal? The post should gain 1,000 impressions and have a click-through rate of 1%, whatever it is, right? You need to have those numbers at your fingertips so you understand exactly what the results are, right? So we know that 78% of all real estate transactions come through repeat and referral business. Yes. So, super important to be communicating with those past clients. And that's what we're going to get into in the second part of this training session. So, those of you that don't have a CRM, please get one. We do have a great CRM with CRA Interactive. And one thing that I'll just say about the CRM and some of you that are using it, and you can, of course, buy lists, and that's not a horrible thing to do. It's actually really good. You can work with DJ Bib or your title rep, and you can buy homeowner lists. But the most important use of a CRM is to communicate with your sphere of influence. When you're getting a random, email and or a text message and or voicemail message from, a realtor, it does not have the same power or effect as people that you know and people that you've done business with. So the most important CRM use is to make sure that you're putting in everybody that you've actually done business with, that you've had conversations with, that know you. So those are the things that make a CRM really pop, and those are the things that allow us to, capture this 78% of real estate traction or transactions coming from the repeat referral business. And those are the things that get you the referrals from the people that you know. So, and staying top of mind. So I love that, a lot of the agents that are using the CRM are buying lists, but I've just watched, and it is, I'd say, at least, you know a fraction as powerful if you're just sending it to those. When you're sending these communications from your CRM to people you know, it is 1,000 times better and it has way more results. So another good thing to do when you're, sitting down at the beginning of the year is to do a SWOT analysis. So the SWOT analysis is, of course, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And to, figure out again, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what you need to work on in 2026. Maybe different opportunities that have just popped up. You just met a builder, or you just, were introduced to, a certain group of people. These are all different opportunities that may have just come up. And then threats, of course, what are some things that have changed in the business? What are some things that are popping up? Interest rates, things like that. So you just want to be able to identify these things and make sure that you are, you have your eyes on the things that, are going to affect your business. So, in this, a synopsis of how we're going to, tackle our business, or we're going to, do our marketing. The thing that I find that is the most effective is to publish useful real estate information, right? And so we publish that through our CRM system. So every month I do create a blog that everybody's able to use, and I'll show you that in a second. And so what you want to do is you want to, take that information, put it into your CRM, blast it out to the people in your sphere of influence. Again, it's, only, a fraction of it as effective if you're sending it to people that don't know you. If you're sending it to people that know you, well, they're way more likely to read it and to understand that you're the, expert, and you're still the expert. Yeah, you sold them a property a year ago, 2 years ago. You're still top of mind with them because you're sending them very valuable information. And so super important to, keep those things in mind. So again, send the info to people you know, right? And then finding a reason to email your contacts sometimes feels difficult. But if you, are sending them things that are interesting, and all of our blog posts that we put out are very interesting, then it has value, right? And so a great idea is, if you're going to do this really, really effectively, is to also create a 1 minute video of yourself talking about what the marketing piece is, a synopsis of what this is, right? And so super short, I mean, do not do a 3 minute video of you talking about this. I'm talking 30 seconds to a minute video of a synopsis of what this is going to be about. Reference the article, and then say, yeah, please do, read this article. And then that is a perfect thing to put out on social media. So you post that on social media, you have a link to your information, and you're able to, direct people through your Facebook business page, and you can also, share it in LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest. Instagram's a little bit more different, or a little more difficult, but if you use a link tree, which is what I always recommend people do, you can always reference, that and say, hey, click on my link tree, and in your link tree, you should have a link to your blog posts. So not very difficult to do. I can show you all how to do it. And then the step that's most important is to do some personal outreach. And so you don't have to personally contact everybody on your list, but you want to segment your list into your A priority, B priority, C priority clients, and you want to consistently reach out to them via either text or phone or email and say, hey, did you get a chance to see that piece of information that I just put out? Right? So, and you can also do this with Facebook Messenger or with Instagram Messenger as well. So it's really, really convenient. And the different types of clients that you have. Certain clients, that are they don't use Facebook Messenger. They don't use Instagram. Not a good idea to try to reach them if they're not there. So, that the people that are on Facebook are on Instagram. So those people, yeah, it's conducive to utilizing those platforms for those outreaches. But for, a lot of people, it's a text message, it's a phone call. So you want to, at least get, go out to, a certain number of those, clients, right? So let me minimize this. So this is your January checklist. So everything that I just went over is right here as a checklist, right? So you're going to review that blog post. You're going to, you're going to, you're going to optionally maybe, create the, local market information, or you're going to use the report instead of the blog post in certain situations. You're going to update your database at least once a month. You should always be updating your database. And then you're going to send that email to your contacts in the database using your CRM. You're going to, take that 1 minute video, put it on social media, and then you're going to schedule the social posts and all of the other things that are related to that, and then you're going to follow up with individual messaging. So all that is distilled down into this nice little checklist for 2026. So let me also just share what that looks like on the actual on your actual website. So this is Bonnie's website. And so what you'll do is you'll go into the blog area, and these blogs are already created for you. So what you'll do is you'll say, all right, let me click on this blog. And you'll notice that this blog post is on Bonnie's website. So it's bonnierodriguez.argca.co and what the blog is. And so this particular one is what makes a great long-term rental property? Checklist for smart investors. What a great read, right? And if you guys go through these things, they're very, very well written. It's very good information that you're giving to your clients for free. They might not have, realized that, oh, whoa, this is a good, way to learn about long-term rental properties, right? And then another example is, how to spot real estate scams. So this is a really good one that talks about, fraud, wire fraud, real estate, scams, critical warning signs, right? So really great information to send to your clients. And even if they don't read it, this is a reason to follow up with people to stay top of mind. That's how we're going to get the referral business. That's how we're going to get the repeat business, is staying top of mind. So this entire strategy is basically making sure that you're contacting people. You're having a reason to have those real estate conversations. Something that we talk about on a lot of our webinars is it takes on average at least 50 real estate conversations to get to a deal. So these are reasons to have those conversations, and it needs to be part of your process and part of your daily routine and your weekly routine to get to those transactions. So this is not a hard strategy. This is just a strategy that everybody needs to implement to have as many of those real estate conversations as humanly possible. Again, it's a metric. Keep track of how many people you contact, how many of those uh, conversations actually leads to you getting a deal. We can talk about averages all you want, but I want you guys to understand what this does and how it impacts your business. So that is, the bulk of my presentation. Bill, what kinds of takeaways do you have for today's presentation?
Takeaway number one is to fix my video, so I'm live next week. So
Sounds good.
I'm not Charlie. If you guys want to call me Charlie for the interim, that'll be funny. That's just a side note. I, we gotta have a sense of humor here, right?
Oh
Uh,
yeah, buddy.
amazing outline, Kevin. You've hit so many important points, and I can't go through all of them, but just some things that just popped out of mind is obviously identifying your specialty, whether it's probate, fix and flip, investors, luxury, horse properties, multifamilies, certain neighborhoods, first time home buyers. We've got Daniel Moray, who is really focused on probate. So he works with attorneys. He works with, people in the probate industry. We've got the Bixler Group, who's new to our company, who works with a lot of fix and flip investors, and they get a lot of business from not only the investor, but also from their once the property has been redone, they get the buyer stuff, buyer leads. So they know what their specialty is, right? Um, the checklist, that's amazing. That's easy. That's for accountability. That's for keeping yourself accountable for the things that you need to be doing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And I really like that, Kevin. Um, and then the video, I think maybe next week we can find just a good, simple, like professional real estate video that we can share with everybody that we think is kind of a top shelf style that everybody can do. And I think there's a couple different people that I have in mind, Kevin. That I'll try to pull one or two up that we can look at as a group. And lastly, the budget thing. The budget thing is super important. Obviously, we're all running our own businesses in this industry, so having your budget nailed, or at least for the most part ballparked, is super important. And if you have not gone back and listened to probably one of our best webinars of the year, 2025, it was the one about referrals, and it talked about how the gal got 60 or 70 deals a year, and how she does it with a budget of, I think it was under $7,000. And all the things that she does didn't a lot of the things she did not cost money. It's just obviously time and effort, and so much of this business is effort, and not doesn't have to be tied to money per se out of your pocket. So
For
um,
sure.
yeah, there's just this might be a webinar that you might want to listen to again if you have to go for a drive, or you got to run an errand, and you're going to be in the car for 30-40 minutes. There's a lot of good content in this one as well. And yeah, let's excited to be back, and let's have a great January. We're going to have some updates, probably with Lauren, and forum updates here. I'm going to talk to her today and see if she's available to come on and just discuss what changes have gone into 2026 for the car forms. That's obviously super important to be aware of that for the TCs, and also whoever's managing your files. And yeah, I think that's about it for now.
Yeah, perfect, Bill. Well, hey, agents, make this year a great year. Get out there and make today a productive day and this week productive. And we'll see you guys all on the webinar next Wednesday. Bye-bye.